In this video, it's electric road trip time again for the first time in 3 years. That time I took a Jaguar I-Pace all the way to Stirling in Scotland. The charging network made it a complete disaster. So the question is, 3 years on, have things improved? We've got a Fiat 500e Icon with a 42 kilowatt hour battery pack supplied by Onto, the subscription car service. And we've got a lot of miles to cover, about 170 miles to do today. So let's see how long it takes, how many times I need to charge up. Of course, one of the problems I've got is I can't charge at home. So already the battery is down to 57%. It reckons 70 miles of range. So I think what I'm going to have to do is go to Aberystwyth, do a quick charge there, maybe 20 minutes just to top the battery up a bit. Because between Aberystwyth and Shrewsbury, there is pretty much nothing. It's pretty barren in terms of charging infrastructure. So 9:45 at the moment. So 1:45 is kind of where we'd be looking to arrive, I guess. And off we go. I'm in Sherpa mode at the moment. I haven't got the heater on. Very fortunate, it's actually quite mild today. 8 degrees out it reckons, but it feels milder than that. So in Sherpa mode, it's dulling the throttle response, it's slowing acceleration and limiting our top speed to 50 miles an hour. I will turn that up once we get to some actual dual carriageway, because I think 60 miles an hour is a better speed to aim for there. But yeah, the choice of vehicle itself, I really like it. Apart from these fiddly wiper controls and the fact that this speaker grill or whatever it is right in front of you on the dash there, it does reflect really badly in the windscreen. That seems a really stupid bit of design. I'm otherwise liking the Fiat 500e very much. I'm starting to mist up, so I've had to put the aircon on, so that will have an effect. Climate currently running at 2 kilowatts. I've not got the temperature turned up very high. It's gone up to 3 kilowatts in fact now. And if you're looking to extend the range of your EV, do what I'm doing now. I'm not trying to do the speed limit. EV has all the torque, so it will do a speed limit up a hill, but of course to do that it's using even more battery power. So yeah, I'm trying to treat the throttle pedal lightly, pretend this is less powerful than it actually is. And you know, that is frustrating in a way. It was certainly frustrating with the I-Pace. With 0 to 60 time of 4.2 seconds, it was very, very exciting to use that acceleration, but of course the cost came that you just lost so much range every time you did. I'm just turning off the lane control because it absolutely infuriates. Well, we're just approaching the charger at Aberystwyth University. Let's hope it's clear, but the range has been saying 54 miles for about 6 miles now, which is a sign of how economy improves as you're cruising rather than just bombing around a very hilly little village. So we've still got 54 miles of range. It makes me wonder, could we have actually made it to Shrewsbury? I fear Shrewsbury is a little further away, but thankfully no one on the charger, so I can back up and get hurling some juice in. It's a 50 kilowatt charger, so nice and rapid. Let's just show you what's actually involved. Let's pretend we've just arrived. Press that flap. You have to pull out the top half, but then I've also got to pull out the bottom half. So that's for your type 2 chargers. That's a lower rate. You need these 2 big pins to come into action for your rapid charging. So we get the cable, connect that up to the car, and then I need the card I've just hidden in my pocket somewhere to wake this thing up. We are a member. Present the card. Card has been accepted, that's good. We are doing the 50 kilowatt CCS. So it has also got the CHAdeMO thing, and it's going to do various checks eventually. Hopefully communicate okay. Yep, communication check, safety check, all okay. So there we go. Battery's at 42% at the moment and is now starting to charge. So there we go. Estimated time to 80% is 26 minutes. And I think that'll probably do us to get to Shrewsbury, so we'll just let that do its thing. Now look at this distant difference here. It reckons to 80% it'll take just 25 minutes, but he's reckoning an hour and 18 minutes to get it to 100%. Getting that last bit of energy in really does take a very long time, so you're generally better off just going to 80–85%. But yeah, it's 10:25 now. Let's see how long it takes. So I'll just quickly program the sat-nav to my final destination and also to pick up the InstaVolt Shrewsbury en route. And we're just under 2 hours to get to Shrewsbury, 77 miles. So I'm not going to wait till 80%. I'm probably going to let's say I'm going to wait until that display, it currently says 62 miles. We'll wait until that's up to 85 miles. So probably 65% should do us. After 14 minutes, we're at 65%, 9.8 kilowatts supplied. And that reckons enough range for 87 miles. So I think I'm going to call that done. So let's stop it. I think it'll want to see my card just to make sure I'm not pretending to be someone else. There you go, nice security measure. There we go. Now I think there we go, car's disconnected. Plug that in. Put our little caps back in place. That one goes up there, that one down there. By the way, the first time I had a Volkswagen e-Golf, or was it the E-Up, I didn't realise this came out separately. So I ended up sitting and waiting for ages for it to charge on a mere fast charger. And now we can get underway. 88 miles in the tank, if you like. So let's get going. I wasn't going to film this bit of just driving to Shrewsbury because I thought it'd be quite boring. But Google Maps decided to take the scenic route. And by heck has it been fun. The one pedal driving works so well on these twisty roads because you just lift and you use the regen. It's like really strong engine braking, and you can control your pace so well. And you know, the car handles nicely. I'm not going to say it's the best handling car. The best handling car I've driven on these roads was the Honda Prelude, I think, that 4th gen one I had many years ago. The steering in that car was absolutely sublime. This is just a bit dead. You can't really feel what's going on. It's no worse than any other modern car, but I'd say it's rather typical. So that buffer of 10 miles I started with has proved more than enough. It dropped to 5 miles difference as we came over the mountains between Aberystwyth and the rest of the world, but it's never gone into negative figures, so we've always had more range than miles to cover. And at the moment it's just dropped to 19 again. And it's not like I've been sparing the horses. I've got the heater on. I dropped out of Sherpa mode even before I got to Aberystwyth, just because it's nice to let it roll up to 60 miles an hour on the hills. But yeah, I've actually got enough that I can enjoy myself. Oh yes, that electric shove. And I've got the limiter set to 60, which is nice because that means I haven't got to keep an eye on the speedometer all the time. So I can just corner at whatever speed I like, using the regen to control my speed, bring the pace down, and then I can accelerate knowing I'm not going to break the speed limit because I've set the limiter to 60. 20 minutes of driving to do, 32 miles left of range, and 13 miles to our charger. I've arrived at the Instavolt charger in Shrewsbury. There are 2 chargers, they're both in use, so I'm currently blocked. So I need to work out whether I'm going to try and find another charger. Yeah, he's only just got here by the look of it. Or if I'm going to just wait. Well, it looks like I'm going to have to pay for some electricity. I'm going to try Telford Services. Yeah, I'm going to go to the GridServe chargers at Telford and hope they're operational. Otherwise, we're kind of screwed. 22 miles of range, 17 miles to go. I'll put it back in Sherpa mode, heater off, just to make sure we actually get there. But yeah, a little disappointing, I must admit. It's flashing the battery light at me and is saying certain systems may be unavailable. We're down to 10% battery, still got 8 miles to go. It reckons 13 miles of range, so we're going to be arriving far lower than I would ever want to. Got a cruise control set to 53 miles an hour. We've just gone up a really big hill, which doesn't help. So yeah, fingers crossed. Well, that got a little squeaky bum, but we're here. 65p per kilowatt hour of juice. So not particularly cheap, and I do need quite a lot of juice unless I'm to pick up another charger on the way, but I don't really want to do that. But at least now I can go to the toilet, have my lunch break, and relax for a bit while the car charges up. It's going to be a while. It's no longer telling me. Oh no, there we go. 50 minutes to get back up to 80%. So yeah, we're going to be here a while, but I shall have a break, answer some comments, and chill out for a bit. Well, in theory, I've got enough juice to get me to my destination, 54 miles of charge and 48 miles until we're at our hotel. But I think it's going to be more comfortable all around if I just top that up just a little bit more, just to make sure we're really comfortable. Like I say, you don't really want to be running the battery into the last 10%, between 20 and 80 is the happy place. We're just up to 40, and that's fine. For some reason it thinks the speed limit in this car park is 37 miles an hour. I'm not sure where it's got that from, but the cup of tea I've purchased from Starbucks is about 600 million degrees centigrade. So I'm not sure how they've managed to do that. So there's no rush. I've got to wait for this to cool down so I can actually drink it. Of course, once I've had a sandwich as well, a ham and cheese sandwich, but mostly seemed to cover me in cheese. Really hot, you know, liquid cheese, lovely. That was £7.65 gone. So yeah, it does get expensive, this travel lark at the moment. I've just discovered there's another cup holder here at the front. It sort of pulls out of this centre console, so I can rest my tea in there. I don't like drinking tea on the move, so I'm still going to stay here. We're up to 56%, 78 miles of range, which is more than what we need, but I'm still drinking my tea. And we've got EVs are loitering, waiting for their go on the chargers, but I'm still charging. So that's the nature of the beast, I'm afraid. And I will be using this electricity, so I'm not going to get pressured off the charger. But yeah, one of the downsides is there just aren't enough chargers. Well, away we go. Continue our journey. We've got 96 miles, 67%, and that costs £15. So I think generally if you base it on 4 miles per kilowatt hour, these rapid chargers, it works out like a 50 mile to the gallon diesel. I will say that's not based on motorway diesel prices. That is worth pointing out. That was more sort of, you know, around £1.89 for your diesel. I think it works out about the same. But we shall carry on. Something I will just say, if you're using cruise control and you're in range or Sherpa mode, the transition off cruise control, you have to manage a bit carefully. You have to get your foot back on the throttle pedal and try and guess whereabouts is right, because if you just knock the cruise controller, it goes straight into heavy regen mode. So that takes some balancing out. And just in case anyone was wondering, yes, if it detects the regen is heavy enough, it will put the brake lights on automatically, so people behind know what's going on. And if you let it one stop to a complete halt and it just sits there, it will hold the brake lights on. But if you just ping this little handbrake button, push the handbrake on, brake lights go off, so you don't have to blind the car behind you. But yeah, if you do nothing and just let it sit there, even when your feet aren't on the pedals, it will keep the brake lights on. Of course, a normal combustion car has a really good heater because it produces so much waste heat. I think modern petrol engines are still no better than 40% efficient at the very best. So most of what you put into a petrol or diesel car just turns into waste heat. Whereas, at least with an electric car, most of the energy you put into it will actually be used. But 12 miles to go. We should arrive about 3:15 in the afternoon, which means our 4-hour journey has taken 5 hours. We lost some time discovering we were charge blocked at one charging station, then of course about half an hour reduced at another. So I don't think that's too bad. In an ideal world, I would just have had the one stop, and it would have been much closer to when I did the trip with the Berlingo. But yeah, life doesn't always pan out as you hope, does it? And I know the charging infrastructure is being improved all of the time. But yeah, it is a bit frustrating, but there still isn't really enough in the way of chargers out there. And with 38% battery and 57 miles left, we've made it comfortably to the Premier Inn, right next to a canal. I have to see if there's a towpath I can have a meander along later. But yeah, we made it. All is good. Well, so much for EVs taking ages. I actually arrived at my hotel room too early, and so found the nearest Instavolt charger just down the road. Thought, well, I could sit in my car in a car park without charging, or I could sit in a car park and charge. So we're putting some volts back into the Fiat. I'm not sure why it's sat here with the headlights on. I think I put the ignition on because I was mucking about with stuff and trying to charge my phone. But yeah, let's go and have a sit in the car because it's quite noisy out here, and we can discuss more. But overall, I have to say, despite it you know, we've eaten up quite a lot of time with charging today. It hasn't been as bad as I expected, and in some ways I think forcing me to stop is probably a good idea. I'm one of those people who has a horrible habit of just keeping going and not stopping and taking sensible breaks, so this actually forces me to do that. Whether I'll be feeling quite so cheery about it on the drive home tomorrow after doing 2 video shoots remains to be seen. It's going to be a lot more interesting. It'll be in the dark, of course. It'll probably be a bit colder, so that might affect the range. But yeah, overall I'm just loving the EV experience still. I just absolutely love how they drive. It's so relaxing because there is no noise, there is no gear changing, it's all super smooth, and I just really like that. So yeah, it's been a really good day. Overall economy is now 4.2 miles per kilowatt hour, which I think is pretty impressive. I've not been sparing the horses, apart from that stint from Shrewsbury to Telford where I was really pushing it on range. Yeah, it's been absolutely fine. And of course the beauty is when you aren't actually running it right down at the bottom of the battery, you can just drive it like normal. And that hasn't been true on previous road trips. Even with the Jaguar I-Pace, I was slipstreaming trucks to try and maximise the range of that vehicle, the I-Pace being ferociously uneconomical. It really does chomp those volts down. So yeah, this has been a lot more relaxing, and I think the more you do it, the more you'd get used to it. I know it's not for everyone. I mean, this is the funny thing. People go, oh, well, this is no good for me. I frequently do 600 miles a day towing a massive trailer. And it's just like, well, you wouldn't buy a petrol Fiat 500 then either, would you? You buy the vehicle for the job, and I accept that electric cars aren't really out there for every aspect of motoring. You know, trucks and vans. There are vans out there, but I think they're more suited to city deliveries than out on the open road, really. So, you know, there are limitations, but for an awful lot of people, electric cars make more sense than ever before. So, interesting times, says I. Right, I'm up to 80% already, so I think I'm probably gonna trickle a bit more in and then head to my hotel room. Well, we are done filming for the day. Now we've just got the small matter of getting home. It's been so frustrating today. Really has been one of those absolute horrors. Just couldn't find anywhere to film. It's so difficult to find somewhere that's quiet and actually accessible around here. Everything is gated off. They obviously must have a bit of a crime issue or something, because you just can't get in anywhere. I found a nice churchyard. I tend to keep an eye out for churches, and found a nice one to film the end of the LDV convoy. But I started off at a different one, and they were like, oh no, we got a delivery here, so you can't be here. And then they were getting the leaf blowers out, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And then I found another spot, but that turned out to be a turning point for a bus. There was no sign saying no parking, this is a bus turning point. So just as I was about to get started, of course the bus turned up and needed to reverse into the space. And there wasn't anywhere for me to go to get out of his way, so I could then go back. So yeah, hugely frustrating. I've spent hours driving around today just trying to find places to shoot. Should have perhaps done a bit more research. I know the photographers like Mr. Furious will do a lot of online searching to try and find likely spots, but yeah, so frustrating. But nonetheless, both vehicles are captured in the can, and now I can head back to Wales. Right, we've got 100 miles of range left, 615 miles covered in this car in total since it was brand new. Let's see what that is by the time we get to a charge station. Still 71% battery to do 100 miles. So maybe 140 is actually quite easy to do this time of year. I'm running the heater at the moment because it is quite cool today. A balmy 8 degrees out at the moment, but it has been quite cold today. So let's see how we do. Well, there's better luck today here in Shrewsbury. No block. There's no one here at all other than me. So it's charging up. It was at 32% when we got here. So we're going to leave that charging up. I would like to get this as high as possible, because really I would love to not have to charge in Aberystwyth. I have a feeling I will have to, because I can't charge at home. That's a failing of me rather than the car. But 673 miles. Let's just ping it on it. So what's that? That's like 58 miles and 45 miles left from our 100. So yeah, I would say this range estimate is actually pretty good. But now I'm going to see if Mr. Bannatyne will let me use his toilet. Oh, hello. 6 music. Well, I'm pleased to report that Mr. Bannatyne did let me use his toilet. If you've no idea who he is, Duncan Bannatyne is on Dragon's Den here in the UK. Makes his money with health clubs and spas, which this is one right here in Shrewsbury. Amusingly, they've got a cafe, loads of delicious cake and biscuits, which could have tempted me had I not already gone to a shop earlier and bought a high quality lunch. I was aiming for chicken and bacon. I appear to have got egg and bacon, so I'd be very glad you're not in the car with me. I shall spare you the eating. Well, in the time it took me to go to the toilet, eat a sandwich and a bag of Wotsits, the battery has gone from 34% to 60%. So yeah, I need to try and work out what to do now. Let's put the ignition back on again. 83 miles in. Shush, shush. 84 miles, sorry, it's just gone up to 60%. But we've got 98 miles to cover. Now, I'm definitely going to have to charge again on the way home, because otherwise I'll just get home with no volts. And that will be pointless, because then I won't be able to get the car back to a charger. So I think I'm going to bet on going to Aberystwyth. We're at 85 miles at the moment. I don't feel quite ready to move yet, so give it another few minutes and then we'll get on our way. And this is the thing, it's all well and good talking about the range of a car, saying the range of the car is 140 miles or whatever, but I'm finding I've basically just done 60 miles and now I'm charging again, and that's a bit what it's like really. But because you're always in the middle ground, the charging is quite quick. You're not having to go up to the 100%, so that's what takes the time. But I accept this is not for everyone. And this is one of the weird things. Why have you just disconnected from my phone? Why is it trying to connect to an iPhone? That will be a Hubnut and they're nowhere near here. Never mind. Technology. It may start playing music again. Now it's reconnected. I have no idea why it's doing this. Yeah, technology. But yeah, I fully accept that some of you will not like this and will be like, oh, well, this won't suit me because I've got to do 600 miles towing a bus. Shush! Told you it was going to do it. But that's fine. Some people quite like this lifestyle, and it is a different way of driving, I must admit. I'm not 100% I'm convinced it's how I want to proceed. Kind of academic anyway. I can't afford an electric car, even a couple of months of onto. But yeah, it's still interesting. Overall, if I was to have a new car, I think I would want an electric one. I don't think I'd want to bother with a modern diesel, and petrols don't excite me particularly anyway. I just love the power delivery. So we are leaving Shrewsbury with 101 miles of range at 72% battery charge, and yeah, I'm gonna have to stop at Aberystwyth, so there's no point trying to cram more volts in. I've literally stopped for lunch, charged up to 72%, and we're now carrying on again. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Using the speed limiter to limit my speed. There we go, up to 50 now. It actually recognises speed limits. It doesn't do a great job of it. It doesn't always get it right. But most of the time it's pretty close. Well, you can probably tell it's getting quite dark now. We are back in Aberystwyth. We've got 24 miles of range and annoyingly 22 miles to home. But there's no point getting home with no juice. So let's go and see if we can get on the Aberystwyth Uni charger. It is free. Huzzah. Well, it is charging, but it's just come up with an error service traction battery. So I hope that's actually going to work. Service electric vehicle system. Service traction battery. Oh dear. Well, this message isn't going away, but it is taking a charge. So hopefully it'll be all right. I'm going to put my usual amount of charge in. There is no point putting any less in. I want to get home. I'm hoping I'll then be able to use the car, but this is a little worrisome. Oh, just some more annoyances. That is not an LED bulb. That is getting really, really hot. Disco mode, woo! Also, I'm sat here with the ignition on so I can charge my phone, but the headlights are on. You cannot turn the headlights off on this car unless there's some magic reset procedure. So I'm sat here with the headlights on, even though I'm not going anywhere. The only options are auto in which case it'll put them on because it's dark, or on, in which case it puts them on. I'm kind of feeling that's a bit silly. Either make a charge port permanently live, or have it so you can actually turn the headlights off. You know, when you go on the channel to go under the sea to France and stuff, it actually says, please turn your lights off, because they're worried it'll set off their sensors. But I remember driving a Citroen C5 down there, and that had auto headlamps, and that wouldn't let me turn them off. The man was not impressed. Right then, apologies for the fact it's dark, but it's dark. Maybe you're better off looking that way. Is this actually going to work? Oh, that was ready. D service electrical system, but we appear to be moving, so I'm going to take that as a good sign. But yeah, we might be coming to the end of this test. But yeah, first of all, we shall get home. Well, the good news is we made it. I don't know if you can see that or not. That's the sign that says KNUF. Nuki. I'm back home. Not actually home, I don't live in this lay-by. So yeah, that's a disappointing end, an unexpected end to this road trip. But otherwise, an enjoyable road trip. And yeah, I still like electric. Even though it's flawed, I still like electric. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Farewell. Follow up, it's a day later and the car's decided it's fine now. Brilliant. Ta-da!